Welcome to the Boomer Briefing Podcast, where we help you solve a critical business issue in 20 minutes or less. I am your host, Jon Hubbard, director here at Boomer Consulting, and with me today is Sandra Wiley. Hi, Sandra. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Jon. How are you doing today?
Doing well. Sandra is the president here at Boomer Consulting. And Sandra, I should mention also, because it was just released, you are once again one of the 25 most powerful women in accounting. So congratulations.
Thank you so much, Jon. I'm forever grateful for that. And it's always a surprise, but boy, it feels good to be able to lead such a great profession. So
awesome. Well, yes, congratulations. And I know you worked extremely hard over the last couple decades to serve your clients well, to improve the lives of others. And it is nice to be recognized. So again, congratulations. And you are on a list with a lot of other influential, great women in our profession. So that's fantastic.
Thank you, Jon.
All right. So the topic for our discussion today is how to message your services so people actually listen. And we're going to do something a little bit different. Since I'm the host, usually I'm the one asking the questions, but you've so graciously volunteered to ask me questions around this topic. So I will turn it over to you and see what you have for me.
I love that. So we will flip our roles this time a little bit, but messaging your services so people actually listen. What an important part of our history right now. This is how a lot of firms are going to get ahead. So why do you think this is important for firms to figure out how to message their services?
Yeah, so I think what's happening in the accounting profession is really all around that move from compliance to advisory or to consulting. And let's be honest, for the last several decades, when you're talking tax and audit and those compliance-based services, you really didn't have to work that hard to message them correctly, right? When people are legally obligated to, buy those services, your messaging doesn't have to be that dialed in. But as firms really look to position themselves in those higher value services, whether you categorize that as advisory or consulting, how you talk about your services is extremely important. And, one reason it's important is because you want people to be interested in the services you provide. So you want to generate business, you want to generate leads, and how you do that for advisory and consulting services is fundamentally different than maybe how you've been doing that for your compliance-based services. And so that's really the main reason. Are you seeing that too, Sandra?
Seeing the very same thing, and marketing and business development and things like messaging and things that are so uncomfortable for a lot of our clients. And so when you think about that, Jon, what solutions do you have for firms to message their services in a more compelling way? Because it's not enough to just say, do it. You have to tell them kind of how to do it. So what are some of the solutions you see?
Right. Nope. That's a really great question. And there's some frameworks out there that we've learned that we use that we help take clients through. We don't have time to get into all that detail, but I think fundamentally what it all points to is how your firm positions itself as the guide to your clients. And so a lot of firms, when you read their marketing, their messaging, whether it's on their website, whether it's social media, there's a lot of energy put into talking about themselves. Firms like to talk about themselves a lot. They like to say that they were founded in 1973 by a brother and sister, and now they've grown to a regional firm, that type of thing. And while that is an important part of your story, it's not an important part of your client's story. And so really, how do you position yourself as the guide? And here's 3 simple questions we always like to have our prospects, our clients be able to understand. And that is, what is it that you do? How does it make my life better? And what action do you want me to take? So if you're a firm out there listening and someone comes to your website, they need to be able to answer those 3 questions in the first 5 seconds. And if not, you're missing a lot of opportunity. And again, those Those three questions are, what is it that you do? How does it make my life better? And what action do you want me to take? If you just do those three things right across all of your messaging, it will be much more compelling than it is today.
I love that. So what do you think? Yeah, so first of all, one of the things that I always challenge my clients to do is go out and use those three questions and either have somebody else that doesn't know them go out, give them the three questions, say, go and see if you can answer that by looking at our website. And it's interesting because there's very few firms out there that are doing that right now. But if they did, and if our viewers or our listeners right now were to really implement your recommended solutions, what you just talked about, what results can they anticipate? I mean, how will that really change anything for them? Because that's at the end of the day, they want something that'll change something.
Right.
What will
So,
change?
yeah, absolutely. So one is, and kind of, arguably the most important one, at least from the business perspective, is it's going to help you generate more revenue. I mean, the more, you know, the more individuals understand your services, the more likely they are to actually sign on for those services, right? We've all heard our clients say, well, I didn't know you did that. Oh, I didn't realize that's what, that you could help me with that. That's one of the most frustrating things we hear as business owners, as firm owners, is, when we hear that. So that's one benefit. You're going to be able to communicate more clearly. That actually results in generating more business. It's also going to help you understand what type of content to create, right? How many times have you sat in front of your computer knowing you need to write a blog post, knowing you need to write an article, knowing you need to write a speech, give a presentation, and you feel like you're just kind of just shooting in the dark, right? There's no real strategy. You're, maybe just looking around for old files, pulling some information together. When you have a clear messaging framework, you now can benefit from that when you go to create that type of content. And the last one I'll mention from the client perspective is we cannot make our clients' lives better without them actually engaging in our services. So we owe it to our clients to communicate clearly to them in a way that's interesting to them so they can actually understand how we can help them and ultimately make their lives and their business better.
And boy, isn't that a great feeling, John, when you are sharing with your clients things that you can do to help them and they, you can see the light bulbs going on in their head like, oh my gosh, that's what we need. So I really think that you're on the right track here. And we've used it at Boomer. We've used that methodology for a long time. We've talked to some of our clients about that, as many as we can get our hands on, right? But how is this relevant to organizations outside of the accounting profession? Because all of our clients are sitting there right now listening to us, or our audience is listening, and they're saying to themselves, this is great for me and my client, for what I do, but how is it going to relate to my clients, right? So outside of this profession, does it make a difference?
Yes, it really does. And here's what we do as where I spend my time in the area of growth is paying attention to what's going on outside the profession, right? It's fair to say the accounting profession is not on the bleeding edge of every business trend out there, right? We may be in certain areas, but for the most part, that's not how we operate. So this messaging framework and this approach to messaging, where you're really positioning yourself as the guide in relation to your clients, it's something that has actually been around for years in other professions, right? Fortune 500 companies have put a lot of energy into this as well. So accounting firms, while we sometimes like to think that we're special or different, we are not when it comes to being able to message clearly to our clients. It's just as important for our firms as it is to other professions. And you mentioned our clients too, Sandra. Your clients need help in this as well. All right. Your clients are trying to figure out how can we communicate more clearly, especially if you have clients in professional services, technology companies, manufacturing, things like healthcare. Everyone's trying to figure out how to communicate more clearly, and the accounting profession is no different.
I would agree with that completely. And Our clients are always, Jon, trying to figure out ways to bring more value to their clients and to have conversations with them that are different. And this is just one more step in that advisory consulting role that they could take if they get really good at this, but they've got to get good at it themselves first, right? So what is the next step? Somebody's listening right now and they're going, oh, wow, that their ears are perking up going, this is something that we need to do, right? What's the next steps? What should someone do if they want to take some next steps in this area?
Sure. So one thing I would recommend is going to boomer.com. We have information on our services page. You'll see marketing consulting. Go there, take a look. You'll learn a little bit more about the messaging framework and the approach we can help, apply there as well. And really, there is a great book out there called Building a Story Brand. And again, during this conversation, I didn't get into all the details around this, but if you're looking to read a book on this topic, check out Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. That's the framework we use, the story brand framework, and that will really help you start to get an idea for how powerful this messaging framework is.
I love that. And as always, we're big readers at Boomer Consulting, big educators and or being educated ourselves. So what Jon's talking about is so important. So Jon, thank you so much. This has been so important for our audience to hear. It is so important for us to take hold of. If they want to find out more about you and about StoryBrand and about what we do here at Boomer, where can listeners find you on social media?
Yeah, so I'm going to direct you to 3 places. One, you can certainly find me on LinkedIn. I try and post at least one video every week or an article and a blog post on these topics. So you can find me on there, Jon Hubbard, Jon Hubbard. You can also find me on Twitter. I'm pretty active on Twitter as well, Jon Hubbard. But you can also find me on YouTube. I've posted a lot of videos over the last year or two on this topic. And if you just want a 2 or 3 minute digestible video that breaks something down really simply around this topic, you can find me on YouTube as well. So that's Sandra.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Jon.
Yes.
It's been wonderful.
Yes. And I want to say thank you as well, because I put you in the host seat for this episode. So you did a great job. For the listeners out there, thank you so much for tuning in. Just a reminder that we do release new episodes every Tuesday. So stay tuned for the next one. Thanks so much.